5, 6, 7% walk rate. So he might hit 240, 250, but we might be looking at Adolis Garcia, right? A guy that's going to put pressure on your batting average, pressure on your on base percentage, that could do 20-20 every year, 25-25. And Adolis Garcia, I think he's going to hit 25 home runs. It's probably at least 20 stolen bases. So could that be LED like Cruz? I think so. And I have to tell you, having owned Adolis Garcia in every one of my dynasty leagues, I think except for one or maybe all of them, he's great. He is great to have. And he's playing a little bit better. He's hitting 260 now. I'll take that with the stolen bases and home and power and the run scored. I'll take all that. Let me take another quick break, and I'm just going to go through a handful of guys up here in the upper part of the deck. Number 45 is Jackson Churio, Chourao. If you listen to my Hot Prospect of the Week, you've heard a lot about Jackson Churio. He is with Milwaukee. He's an outfielder. He's only in low A. He is truly one of this year's breakout players. Athletic, great bat speed, and one of the youngest players in low A. So this could be, a potential future star. Now, could he flame out because he doesn't make enough contact? Sure. But it's a nice swing, right? And I think, again, he's only 18 years old and kind of have success he's having. I'm hoping the Brewers keep him in low A the entire season. I think he needs that grooming. But there is future stud impact potential here with Jackson Churio. Number 35 is a kid that we've already seen in the big leagues, and that's Leova Perguero. He was a guy that we only saw briefly. I don't understand what the Pirates did there. Maybe to motivate O'Neal Cruz. I have no idea. But there's a lot to like here. There's definitely 2020 upside. He's very aggressive at the plate. Just going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with a guy who might hit 260 with a 310 on base percentage. That's what you're going to have to deal with, but I think there's a chance he goes 20-20. It's a very good player and a really good shortstop. He should be playing short over Cruz. I think, Cruz is fine at shortstop. I think Perguero is much better there. Now, if Cruz establishes himself as a all-star, which I don't think he will, but if he establishes himself as an all-star, then Perguero will get moved off. But the right thing to do in the Pirates organization is move Cruz to a corner outfield and just be done with it. Probably move him to the right field with his cannon for an arm. Number 25 and 26 number 26 comes in at Taj Bradley. I just wanted to highlight him because he's one of my favorite pitchers in the minor leagues. He will make because I've already done my hot prospects of the month for June, and he is on that list. And I think it's like a ridiculous. Let me see if I can bring up that list. Here they are. I think what did his stat line Yeah, his stat line was 24 innings pitched, an 0.74 ERA, and a guess it's not an 0.74, it's a 0.74 ERA. 25 strikeouts and 7 walks, and for the season, 65 and third innings, a 1.65 ERA, 10.5 strikeouts per 9, and 2.3 strikeouts per walks per 9. So this is a guy who's, again, absolutely shoving it, plays for a great organization, a team that's able to develop pitchers. I don't think we see him this year, but given there's not many pitchers ahead of him, I think that highly of Taj Bradley. Number 25 is Esteury Ruiz. And I think I'm only going to talk about 2 more guys, but I'm going to do that question here after talking about these last 3 guys. I rate if the season ended today, he would be my minor league player of the year. I haven't checked to see how many stolen bases he's up to, but from a fantasy standpoint, actually, it's probably a lie. I mean, I think it's hard to. I mean, Gunnar Henderson has been really good, so that's probably a little hyperbole. Gunnar Henderson's been great. Corbin Carroll's been great. Who else has been great? Let's see. Volpe's high, but Jordan Walker's been great. I mean, he has a chance to be player of the year. But Ruiz, I mean, let's take a look at what he is doing. Double A at 344 with 37 stolen bases. Oh my word, 21 games in Triple A. He has 4 home runs and 17 stolen bases. He has 54 stolen bases. His on-base percentage is .474. He is slugging I'm looking at 580. I'm kind of combining his Double A and Triple A numbers. It's crazy. Yeah, he's my minor league player of the year. Yeah, I'm sorry, in all deference to Corbin Carroll, anybody with 13 home runs and 54 stolen bases, hitting .345 with a slug of .473 is the minor league player of the year. Why isn't he higher, you ask? It's the first year he's ever done. He's always had the speed. He's never showed any power. Well, he showed 10 home runs last year, but he had 249 last year. I mean, so he's making better contact. He's getting on base more. He's just blown up as a great player. The question is this an anomaly? Is this going to be, his best season? I don't think so. I think it's more of a trend. But going from off the list at the beginning of the season to 25, that's insane. So I feel very aggressive with this Churio Ruiz. Don't feel like I can put him any higher, but man, that guy's been unbelievable. Number 18 is Marco Luciano. The numbers just don't drop. He's a San Francisco shortstop. He's probably going to move to third base, big guy. The numbers don't jump off of you, but there's definitely 30 home run pop, which I think with an approach that I believe will allow him to hit. I saw him at the Fall League. He was way overmatched at the Fall League. So I think there's definitely some development left with Luciano, but there's big time raw power there. The last guy I want to talk about is at number 10, and that is Gunnar Henderson. So Gunnar Henderson makes the top 10, and once you get a chance to see the list on Monday, you'll see that there's 5 guys in front of him that are all in the major leagues. So there's a chance that he is a top 5 prospect by next season if we don't see Gunnar Henderson in the big leagues by then. He's another guy that's just had, I got a stat line up here. It's had a remarkable season. First in Double A as a 20-year-old. He just turned 21 a few days ago. 8 home runs, 12 stolen bases, walked more than he struck out. 312, 452, 573 with the slash line. He gets promoted to AAA, still is a 21-year-old. Again, he is 21 and 3 days. So he turned 21 earlier this week. 5 home runs, 3 stolen bases, 22% strikeout rate, and 18% walk rate. So for the year, I think he's struck out one more time than he has walked. 312, 438, 584. He's having no trouble as I can look. You go to Baseball Reference to find out who the youngest players in the league are, but he's got to be the youngest player in that league, I would assume, at just turning 21 years old and performing that well. I mean, that's just darn impressive, right? You want guys who are young for leagues because that shows you the talent when they can handle guys that are playing in the big leagues that are rehabbing, that are 28 years old with filthy stuff, and you're, walking as much as you're striking out and showing power and speed. I mean, everything is there for that guy to be an absolute monster. So Gunnar Henderson, I like. I think there's 20-20 upside, but if you tell me it's more 15-15 upside, I wouldn't be surprised. I think this guy's going to hit, particularly the on-base percentage is going to be there. You know what it reminds me a little bit of? Wander Franco with maybe a little bit more power and speed. I think that much of him. I mean, it's just been ridiculous what he has been doing, and I think we have to applaud him as one of the best prospects in the minor leagues. So Adley Rutschman is still in the top 10. Maybe Grayson Rodriguez will be, and Gunnar Henderson. So if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, you got to be pretty excited, right? That the they got 3 top 10 prospects, and one of them already in the big leagues, and showing that he is not afraid of what's in the big leagues. As I've been talking, yes, Gunnar Henderson is 21. Jordan Groshans, second youngest player in the league, at 22. Bryce Terang at 22. Ivan Herrera is 22. Nolan Gorman still listed as 22. So yeah, he's at the top of the list in terms of the youngest player. That is Gunnar Henderson. Let me take a break, get back, and let me answer that question. I encourage you all to stay here for that question, because I think you should hear what I have to say. First of all, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. A little preview, a quick little tease of that, 45 minutes in and out. Again, we're going to go through exhaustive details on Tuesday, and again, you'll get a chance to read it on Monday. Let me read this tweet again. I was offered Freddie Freeman and Kevin Gausman for Corbin Carroll and Esteury Ruiz. This trade might put me over the top for this year, but I'm afraid these two will become fantasy studs in the near future. Jeffries asked this. So Jeffrey, you're absolutely right. These guys could become 2 fantasy studs in the future. First of all, Corbin Carroll, they both have hair on them. We've already talked about Esteury Ruiz. He could be my minor league player of the year. Speed and growing power, and a guy looks like he can hit with crazy on-base percentage skills. This is the first year he's done it. He's not a big guy. He might get overwhelmed at the next level. Corbin Carroll's 5'9", probably more like 5'8", and there's always been comps. The reason he dropped in the draft was because of the size. There's always been concern he's more of an Andrew Benintendi type of player. The tools aren't going to be that loud. Now, he's had 0 problems this year. He was hurt most of last year. So there are the stat lines and the scouting reports all point to these guys. Well, the scouting report on Esteury Ruiz doesn't really point to him being a chance to be a stud, but the scouting reports for Corbin Carroll have a chance for him to be a stud if he can continue to show power and won't get overwhelmed because of his size. Now, so it's a legitimate question. I'm afraid or worried that these guys are going to become studs. But what I'm going to pose to you, Jeffrey, and everybody else, when you have this feeling, you also might want to turn it around and go, do I lack the confidence to find the next Corbin Carroll and Esteury Ruiz? First of all, you probably picked up Ruiz this year. Maybe you drafted him a couple of years ago and hung on to him because he had the speed. But again, he was a guy that was falling off people's radars because he was hitting 240. Yeah, he was stealing bases, but nobody thought he'd hit. Corbin Carroll was the 16th, I think it was the 16th player drafted. So you kind of dug deep. Now, hopefully you listen to my stuff. I was very high on Corbin Carroll coming out of that draft. And this year I've talked pretty much nonstop about Esteury Ruiz. And the mainstream prospect people, and I think Tim of that, started bringing up Ruiz about 3 weeks ago, right? So you should have an early jump on Ruiz. And I implore you that if you're afraid to give up a young stud, I ask you the question, are you afraid that you're never going to find 2 other studs out there? And I think the answer is you will. Because guess what? Corbin Carroll and Esteury Ruiz of the world, they come out every year. In fact, there's multiple guys like that. We talked about some of them today on today's podcast. I mean, who's heard of Warming Bernabel? Is he going to have the chance to be as good as those other 2 guys? Probably not. Pretty damn good player. Ellie De La Cruz, he has a chance to be better than Ruiz. And I mean, that guy could have crazy skills. There are guys like that who kind of start to put it together every year. And if you do your homework, you listen to these podcasts, which I'm hopefully doing the helping you do your homework, you're going to find these guys. You can't be afraid to lose a potential stud that's coming up through the minor leagues. But you've got to get, part of it, you play in a dynasty league, the goal is to take these guys, draft them, hold on them for 3 years, and then you own them for 10 years throughout their career, and they become studs and all-stars, and you win many leagues. That's the dream. After playing in this format for so many years, it rarely happens. Sometimes it does. Sometimes those studs come out of guys that you grabbed when they were in AAA, and they turn out to be really good.